So let's talk about WrestleMania is going 2 nights again. Why? Because to put it bluntly, Vince McMahon isn't stupid. I know he's often referred to as past it or senile. All wrestling is based on the Vince McMahon model, and this man is undoubtedly the number one in the world at making money from wrestling. The concept of WrestleMania being a 1-night show, then a 2-night show, then a 1-night show, but definitely a 2-night show, again, isn't a new one. This time last year there was report after report after report stating that WrestleMania would be going back to 1 night. And then a few months later, reports started appearing that, WrestleMania might be going 2 nights. It wasn't necessarily just because COVID. It started because of that, but later on, things did start to change. With those reports, I've got to be honest, I never personally believed them because, and I've said this before, follow the money. It is a very, very common journalistic trait and journalistic tool. If you want to investigate something, just follow the money. WrestleMania is a big show. Not the big show, if you believe the WWE, he retired to run a scuba school in Venezuela, but a big, long, exhausting show nonetheless. And there are times I've stayed up until 8 o'clock in the morning, all the way through, crying because I thought The Undertaker was retiring, and that was a big deal to me. And then he comes back, and then I can't sleep because I'm in work in half. It's not fun, basically. If you're a fan of sleeping, WrestleMania is basically murder, with very minor exceptions. Those exceptions being the last 2. Having WrestleMania over 2 nights is a no-brainer. Not only can the company still stack the event so heavy that it drowns under its own weight, but splitting it over 2 nights means that people might actually still leave feeling positive. In addition to that, it allows them to market Mania as having 2 main events, even though there is technically still only 1. This year, the main event was Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan versus Edge. That was the main event. However, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair's Night 1 main event was award-winning. This is especially poignant when you consider that they weren't an actual main event, but they made it work, and the branding was clever to make it feel like the big deal that it should have been. WrestleMania being a 2-night affair also means double the money generated. This is what makes it seem very obvious that Vince McMahon would make this choice. If it's a 100,000 seater arena and they're charging you an average of $40, that is $4 million. Do it for 2 nights, that is $8 million. That is basically the paycheck of half a Brock Lesnar. Or a full Brock Lesnar, who knows, the man may charge as much as he likes. You can sell out an arena and make a hell of a lot of money. You can sell WrestleMania on pay-per-view and make an incredible amount of money. That's great. Now do it all over again 1 day later. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't do this for SummerSlam this year. The WWE's plans are always to get bigger. Having 1 7-hour WrestleMania is difficult to fathom, but we've had it repeatedly. Having 2 4-hour WrestleManias feels a lot better, even though more content is being thrown at you. Vince McMahon can expose more stars. And not like that. Not like that. Expose them on TV. Not like that. Not like that. More of his heroes. More of his personal saviors and the sweaty monsters that he loves so much and yet for some reason keeps firing. Vince's vision has always been clear. There should be wrestling on TV at all times. WWE wrestling, that is. If WWE is on TV, then WWE has a chance of gaining a new viewer. That's what he wants, and that's all he wants. So yes, I have always had absolute confidence that WrestleMania would be 2 nights. And even if the reports that come next are no, WrestleMania is only going to be 1 night, I still kind of believe it. I also believe each night will be longer each year. 10 matches per night doesn't sound that bad, does it? It doesn't. We've had 2 4-hour shows. What about 2 5-hour shows? SummerSlam's getting pretty big. Maybe we could have a 2-night and 8-hour show. 2 4s there. Maybe the Royal Rumble could be a 7-night affair. This is the WWE business model. And it's the main reason they've had to release so many wrestlers over the last few months, because they've been hoarding people with the idea of giving you more shows. More shows such as NXT India, more shows such as NXT Japan, which until this week No one even admitted that it actually existed, because I hadn't heard anything about NXT Japan actually being licensed. The plan was flood the market, swallow up all the talent, and then put it all in front of you, just in case one of those hundreds of thousands of minutes is finally appealing to you and makes you a fan. I've done a lot of pointing today. It's why we have SmackDown, Raw, NXT, 205 Live, Main Event, NXT UK. As AEW threatens the McMahon monopoly on wrestling, McMahon will fight back with what he knows. More content, more Roman Reigns, more sweaty dudes. Early indicators suggest that the main event of this year's WrestleMania, that being Night 2, will be Roman Reigns versus The Rock for the Universal Championship on SmackDown. I find it very unlikely we'll have a 2 SmackDown main event scene this year's WrestleMania. So this year I'm looking at the Night 1 main event potentially being Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. Who do you think will be main eventing WrestleMania next year? So the reports are that for this week's Raw, Vince McMahon essentially came in, scrapped everything and rewrote it. I enjoyed this week's Raw. So I'm not entirely sure how accurate that is. I think some storylines are bad, but I don't necessarily think it's automatically Vince that's the problem there. Para says Vince can get casual but Triple H secured quality. If they could just get their heads together, they could work magic. Yeah, essentially that's what they're trying to do and it's not working. There is a reason that despite being a great show, the women's triple threat main event of WrestleMania is not revisited all that much. A lot of people were asleep by the time I actually got on. Connor just says, what is sleep? Fair. Lance says, WrestleMania was becoming borderline unwatchable before the 2-night swap. It was like a 7-hour card. It was. They said it would be 5. It ended up being 7 or 9. Or it's ridiculous how long and bloated these shows get. Bailey says 2 nights of WrestleMania gets a lot more of the talent in front of the camera. A single night pay-per-view may only have 25 to 30 performers active. Very true. They don't need to shove everyone into a battle royal if they can actually write storylines for people and give them matches. Buzzy says WrestleMania being 2 nights should be the norm, considering that it benefits both sides. WWE gets more money from this model, be able to give spots to as many performers as possible, and fans benefit from not being tied out in the stadium after 5+ hours. You've raised a really good point there, Buzzy. I have to particularly point out just how long 7 hours is to be stood and sat around watching wrestling. This is why you have matches referred to as pee-break matches. There shouldn't be such a thing as a pee-break match, but seriously, there is. Because if you're there for 7 hours, you're gonna get bored. You're going to. You're going to want to drink. You're going to want to pee. You may need to do more in that bathroom just to make sure that you don't do it in your seat, you know? You know? Don't want to talk about it more, but you get what I'm saying. Ed says, Dirt Sheet headline, Colohue claims Vince will expose stars. Yeah. Wolfgamer says Vince can expose more stars. Phrasing! Yeah, I know. I wrote it and I thought nothing of it, and then I read it and I was like, not like that. Not like that. Not like that, though. KJ says, welcome KJ, would be great to have Becky, Banks, Charlotte and Bayley in a fatal 4-way. I don't see them all being on one brand is the issue. WWE like to spread them out to basically make it so that all the star power isn't on one side. If you have all 4 horsewomen on one channel, that's going to create some problems for the other channel. Although, to be fair, SmackDown's basically already there. They've got 3 of them. Just one of them's not available for we don't know why, even though she recorded on Hot Ones. And Bayley is injured.